Is Rwanda's President Paul Kagame in danger of losing the international community's goodwill for a country still haunted by the ghosts of genocide? He's been accused of autocratic behaviour, of being unrealistic about the prospects for the economic transformation of Rwanda, and perhaps most damagingly, a recent United Nations report claims the Rwandan government is breaking UN sanctions by backing rebels in the neighbouring Democratic Republic of Congo. My guest today on Hard Talk is President Paul Kagame of Rwanda. Can he reclaim his reputation as a bold and visionary leader, or is he destined to go down as another African strongman who failed to live up to expectations? President Paul Kagame, welcome to Hard Talk.
Thank you.
You've been credited with trying to unite a divided country, make it more prosperous after the genocide of 1994. But truly you are now in danger of squandering the international community's goodwill, aren't you?
No, it doesn't make sense because there's nothing that suggests on the ground, as a matter of fact, that there is any danger as to what Rwanda looks like or President Kagame looks like. Just the facts on the ground speak for themselves. I don't see where this story comes from.
I mean, but are you aware that you are a deeply polarizing person, that your admirers think very highly of you, and yet your critics are increasingly becoming more and more skeptical? You divide opinion.
Well, I start with where things must start first, and that is in Rwanda. What Rwandans think about the progress they are making in their lives, about how they are rebuilding their country, and so on. That's the starting point. So for the critics, they've been there right from the start. They don't acknowledge the progress that is being made in the country. For them, the situation is worse than it was 10, 15, 18 years ago. But for the real people who live the real life on the ground, the Rwandans, the millions of them, they see lives getting better every day.
But why do you think that you excite that kind of passion? What is it about Paul Kagame, do you think, that makes somebody like Tony Blair hail you as a bold and visionary leader and says that you are a good friend, and yet there are those who are give a completely different point of view?
Well,
what is it about you, do you think,
like
that gives
Tony
rise to
Blair
that?
or many other friends that have helped the country to be where it is today are genuine people who think through issues and question different things and come up with a good conclusion.
Tony Blair's been advising you on how to become less aid dependent, for instance.
That's right. Then, it is polarizing in a sense that there are people who have been connected with Rwanda's problems right from the beginning, even in history for many years. They have created these problems. These problems also relating to genocide and many others are not inherently Rwandan. They come from outside. So these are people who have been part of the problem, and they have always seen Rwanda with a different eyes.
What do you mean, people from the outside? Do you mean former colonial powers? Or
well,
what?
you know, the whole history originated here from outside. When I say from outside, I mean you can think beyond even colonialism. Different structures that have operated from outside, okay, and not allowed Rwandans or Africans to deal with their own problems. This is where the problem starts.
That is a debate which is certainly worth having, and we've had it in various guises. But I actually want to put to you not criticisms from outsiders, but criticisms from insiders in Rwanda, people who fought alongside you when you were in the Rwandan Patriotic Front and tried to stop those who were perpetrating the violence, people who know you well and who now say, Paul Kagame, he's autocratic, he's... I mean, can I give you some names, for instance?
Zainab, you can give names, but...
Yeah, can I just say what it is, though? I'm talking about the Rwandan briefing.
I have heard this before, because you're going to tell me 10, 20, even if it is 20 names, and I'm talking about millions of Rwandans. So if you want to believe what 10, 15 people are talking about, and you don't believe what millions of Rwandans are saying. That's where the problem is. Look at the crisis all over the world. Whichever country you talk about, developed, developing, and otherwise, they have crises. They have scandals going on with leaders, with everybody. If you're going to take a country as it is and say, this country, because of this scandal by so-and-so who is a leader, this is how we must look at the country, then you will get things wrong.
Okay, well, I mean, I still put it to you, and I mean, as I said, nobody doubts that you have brought great economic success to Rwanda, and if you look at various indicators, economic indicators, you know, more children in school, you've tackling malaria, that kind of thing. But nevertheless, politically, there are very strong criticisms about you. In the 57-page Rwanda briefing from August 2010, you are described as a hardline, one-party, secretive police state, Rwanda that is, and that its people as a population are being held hostage to President Kagame's arbitrary and repressive rule. Person saying that is former Army Chief of Staff, General Nyamwasa, Colonel Patrick Karegeya, former Head of External Security, Gerald Gahima, former Prosecutor General, and Theodore Rudasingwa, former Rwandan Ambassador to Washington. That's, I mean, these are all people who are
Zainab, please, don't
your allies, former
You're just
allies.
recycling all the things that keep coming up. And I'm taking you back to the same problem. In this country, where we are sitting, you read everyday newspapers talking about different things, about politicians, about business people, about things. Do you go and turn around and say this country is a mess because of these individuals?
But what do you say to these individuals? Because I mean, one of them
I'm saying this to you because the analysis seems to be based on wrong issues altogether. There is not a single country in this world. This is what I'm putting to you. There is not a single leader. There is not a single individual who is in public office that has not come under attack or criticism of one kind of... Wait a minute.
Sure, that's a valid point. But
yes, but the way you choose to say, well, I believe this one, I will not...
No, I wasn't. I was putting it to you and I was asking your response. But General Nyamwasa...
I said these things hundreds of times.
It's worth doing it again now because the focus is very much on Rwanda. General Nyamwasa says he was shot in Johannesburg.
And for us in Rwanda, we are comfortable with what we are doing and what we have in terms of progress.
So these are just a few people who are critical of your leadership, no way indicative.
The facts are there for you to see. It depends on what you want to believe. You either go and believe what Nyamwasa is saying, and you don't want to see his own lack of accountability and issues relating to his own misconduct. And you don't want this again. I wasn't
portraying Nyamwasa as a model Democrat at all.
I think that's what.
No. I wasn't doing that.
When you raise it like that, it's like that's what somebody will repeat.
I was not in any way suggesting that he is a model Democrat, but he has been shot at in Johannesburg. He's now renewed his allegation.
If there is a case going on, why don't you wait for the case to go on?
There is a trial at the moment.
What do you want me to talk about the case?
Well, no,
It's the case.
He's renewing the allegation that somehow you were involved in that shooting when he was shot in Johannesburg.
What do you expect him to say?
Well, no, I'm just asking you for your response to it. And
but I can't keep responding to everybody passing on the street with every rumor they come up.
What made them turn their opinion against you, though? These were people who were your allies. What is it, do you think?
My people are more important. The country people. They're now close to 12 million people. That's where I'm taking you back to. So you choose to single out somebody on the street spreading rumors or creating stories, or you choose to believe the millions of people of Rwanda. It's your call.
It's not one or the other. It's not one or the other, Mr. President. And as I said, I
have told you, we live in the same world. So don't treat Rwanda differently from the rest of the world. We live in the same world where there is no situation that everybody will praise and say for 100% that all people agree on it. Right. So if you are talking about Rwanda in that light, just look at it in the same context as you see the rest of the world. This is what I'm talking about.
But you've dismissed the criticisms from these former allies of yours, but now one of your biggest supporters, one of your biggest donors, the United States, its ambassador to the United Nations, Susan Rice. As you know, she was in Kigali in November 2011, and she has applauded your economic vitality, she says, which has moved the country forward. Social progress has been substantial, yet the political culture, she says, in Rwanda remains comparatively closed. Now, when a key ally like the US says that kind of thing, you have to sit up and take notice, don't you?
United States or any other country don't manage Rwanda. Rwanda is managed by Rwandans. Listen to them.
But they do give you lots of... They're one of your biggest bilateral aid donors.
But that does not determine how we live our lives.
So what do you say to Susan Rice?
Live their lives as they should live. Well, if you are talking about that, look at back just a little bit in history. Look at the failures of these friends. So now, on one day you want to believe what they are saying. On the other, I'm sure you, even if you don't want, the facts will also talk about it. This is why I'm telling you that Rwandans live their lives, and they determine how they live their lives. And I'm supposed to ensure that.
So it's not
somebody else will do that.
It's not a politically closed country then, because you have got people like the opposition leader Victoire Ingabire, who is on trial because she...
I wish I knew what you were going to...
No, but I'm just putting it to you. No, I mean...
Let's talk about things that matter to the lives of...
But this matters, doesn't it? Alice Muhirwa, National Treasurer of the Opposition United Democratic Force, says dissidents remain silent out of fear in Rwanda. What is your response when you hear that kind of criticism?
My response is that maybe you should take all your time or most of your time asking every leader of this world all these problems.
Well, I mean, we do put these points and criticisms to leaders and other politicians
the cynicism
when we talk
that comes
to them.
along with
No, I wasn't being cynical. I was giving you a chance to rebut these allegations.
I'm telling you one thing. We've explained these so-called allegations. But and I'm glad you're even putting it that way yourself. You're talking about all the progress that Rwandans are making in their lives. And then you put in but, and then you bring in one individual saying this or one individual, even out of context. If Victoire Ingabire is in a court of law to answer the charges leveled against her, what's wrong with that? What are the courts supposed to do? If there was no court and there was a kangaroo court that tried her or she was punished without even hearing her what she has to say, but by the way, she's with many others. Also,
well, she said
singling her out. Then
no, I'm just saying. Well, she's being found guilty of genocide, promoting genocide, violating a law that prohibits genocide.
How should I answer for that or explain that?
But she just said that the innocent majority Hutus who died alongside the Tutsis in the genocide should be honoured as well.
But then you should be asking me every case that has been handled by the court in Rwanda, because Ngabire's life is not more important than the lives of other Rwandans. It doesn't look good, though, does it, Mr. President, when you have lots of criticisms? Because if it doesn't look good to you who do not understand the problems of Rwanda, yet Rwanda is making good progress and Rwandans are holding each other and ourselves accountable, then that is...
We'll talk about the economy. We'll talk about the economy in a while. And as I said, that you have been totally applauded for your efforts for improving agriculture output and that kind of thing.
That will have to continue. There is nothing that is going to derail that.
Undoubtedly, everybody says that it is a big economic success story, fantastic rates of growth for the past few years and so on.
Yes,
but it's the politics I was trying to
pick even
you
the
up
politics.
on.
You see, if the politics were wrong, the agriculture would not be right. This is what I will also tell you, because agriculture involves Rwandans. These are Rwandans doing the agriculture, feeding themselves, doing everything. So it's politics behind it, driving it.
Okay, now, of course, you're facing huge allegations now, renewed ones, about your activities or your alleged activities in the neighbouring Democratic Republic of Congo. A United Nations report earlier this year says that the Rwandan government is backing a rebel movement in the Democratic Republic of Congo called the M23, led by Bosco Ntaganda, a former Congolese general. What is your response, Mr. President, to these very serious allegations?
My response is that we are not connected at all with the cause of the uprising of M23, as you are talking about. We are not supporting them. We do not intend to, because we don't know what they are about or what they want. We are not even involved at all, and it wouldn't make sense, because for us, our relationship with the Congo, before all this thing happened, was actually very good. And we are working together to eliminate the problem that has existed between the two countries. Again, working together with the Congolese, some people are not happy about that. They were actually trying to undermine it. And then all of a sudden, because of the problems of Congo, this issue came up. it is more of an internal problem of Congo and the failure thereof in terms of governance and how to resolve their own problems that has created this issue.
There's no question that the DRC has got huge problems, you're absolutely right. But nevertheless, this group of experts on the Democratic Republic of Congo who put together and in their oral briefing to the UN Sanctions Committee on the 13th of June, they say they have gathered evidence of arms embargo and sanctions regime violations committed by the Rwandan government. They say these violations consist of the provision of material and financial support to armed groups operating in the east of the Democratic Republic of Congo, including the recently established M23. What do you say to that?
Let me clarify issues here. The so-called report is an addendum attached to the interim report by so-called experts who operate in Congo, right? Second, if you look at what is said in the addendum itself, I mean, it is self-indicting. It tells you how these people are not even experts. Maybe they're experts, but doing a different thing they don't understand entirely. Because the facts are there. It's in the report. We saw it, by the way, when it just came out. Even the names of people in Rwanda that were put there, just got to know about it when the report came.
Why would they want to invent this kind of information? What's your theory? Why do you think they're baseless,
let me tell you
the
facts. Let me tell you the facts, and then you can make your own conclusion. If you look at the report, the report is based on what has been said by the soldiers in Congo, the officers of the military in Congo, the intelligence people, the so-called defectors, people who have deserted one group or the other. This is all they are talking about. Now, I'm telling you that for a fact that people who are being accused have not been asked at all. Have not been talked to at all.
So do you want these experts? Your Foreign Minister Louise Mushikiwabo says they should come to Rwanda to carry out their own investigations.
We actually,
are you inviting them to go? Have you invited them to go into Rwanda?
But before I do that, I'm even questioning the expertise in terms of investigation. How do you just go and pick things somewhere on the street and then indict people and call them names and do what without even talking to them?
But the UN Secretary General himself, Ban Ki-moon, has spoken to you on the telephone, and also President Kabila of the DRC.
Yes.
He says he's very worried. He wants you to diffuse the tensions.
True. That's
so
true.
Is he making this statement based on a useless report, which is what you're suggesting, that it's a useless report? He asked both of you to diffuse the tensions, and he says he's got serious concerns.
Yes, if he wants us to talk, to deal with the problem, how does that validate the report?
But this report was supported. He says he's very concerned. He's got serious concerns about the external support that these M23
I think he's
mutineers
concerned
are
with
receiving.
the violence going on. That is very obvious. Everybody is concerned about the violence going on.
Did he ask you? Did he say to you, were you supporting them? Did he ask you that?
He raised it talking about the report.
Did he say directly to you, is Rwanda supporting the M23 rebels?
He was asking, yes, based on the
and
report.
what did you say to him? No,
I told him his people lied to him. It doesn't make sense.
His people lied to him?
Yes.
Why would this panel of experts, Nelson Alusala from Kenya, Ruben de Koning of the Netherlands, Maria Plama Diallo from Moldova, Stephen Spittles of Belgium, Stephen Heed from America, and Emil Serrato, France, why would they make all this stuff up?
I told you it is better to give you the facts and then make your own conclusion. I have told you the facts. How do you have a situation like that involving so many parties as alleged, and you find the report is just written by asking one side, the other side has never heard of anything?
Oh, well, I ask you now, the arms embargo and the sanctions regime violations by Rwanda include the following. You can tell me, have you done this or not? Direct assistance in the creation of MT3 through the transportation of weapons and soldiers through Rwandan territory, yes or no?
Yes,
no? No? You've not done that? Because that's what it's accusing you of.
That is what is written. But
so it's not true.
That's not true. It doesn't make
Recruitment
sense.
of Rwandan youth for the M23?
Why Rwandan youth?
Well, that's what they've written. Recruitment of Rwandan youth and demobilise ex-combatants as well as Congolese refugees for M23. Are you supplying them before? But I'm just giving you the allegations in the report, Mr. President.
And I'm trying to explain you by giving you facts.
Provision of weapons and ammunitions? No?
Why would anybody give them ammunition? They are getting ammunition from where they are deserting. Let me tell you this fact. The main problem in this Congo situation is a mix of ignorance and arrogance. People not listening. It's just that. Because you cannot, the ignorance of people saying somebody is giving them arms. No, these fellows are deserting with arms.
So you're not giving, you've said no to all those, and you've said that the UN report is baseless. All right, you're being urged to meet President Kabila, possibly on the sidelines of the African Union summit taking place on Sunday. Would you agree to meet him so you can diffuse the tensions?
Let me tell you this ignorance that is taking place. The Secretary General, as we are talking, he even didn't know that we talk with Kabila. I'm the one who told him that I've been talking to Kabila on telephone several times.
Will you meet him face to face? That's going to bring more results, isn't it? Your foreign minister has said in Addis Ababa this week now that there is an agreement that you want
we'll
to
decide along the way whether we do it or not. Let me tell you what
so you haven't decided whether you'll meet? Okay.
Wait a minute. First of all, one thing I don't like, and I don't think should be entertained as the main thing. The fighting going on is not between Rwanda and the DRC.
Okay.
It's between one group that is Congolese and another group that is Congolese. Now, the only thing is about accusations that they even cannot substantiate, provide evidence for. They just make reports.
Right. Could it be going on without your knowledge?
Evidence.
Could this support, briefly, be going on without your knowledge?
Well, there is no support that is going on, and there is no support that would go on.
So no renegade Rwandan military officials.
No, we
helping.
We don't have those. We don't have rogues in our army.
Right. I want to ask you about the economy, because you have said, look at the successes we have there. You often have talked about almost creating Rwanda and making it the Singapore of Africa and so on. And yet the reality, you've got a long way to go before you could even be described as an Asian tiger or an African lion. 6% of homes in Rwanda have access to the electricity grid. You have a very small middle class, according to the African Development Bank, the third smallest in Africa. So how are you going to be able to do this when you've got 85% of people living on the land?
You've touched on the grim light and on the dark side of things, but let me tell you how that is done. If the country is feeding itself, feeding its people, and even exporting food to the rest of the region, this is not a bad story. If you have children going to school for the first 9 years, now extended to 12 years, over 92%. This is not a bad story. If you have health insurance covering 94% of the population, this is not a bad story. If you have women empowered and girl children going to school and in almost 900%, it's not a bad story. So, and if you look at, we are among the three competitive economies in Africa. This is not a bad story.
Okay. Rwanda, 50 years since it became independent from Belgium. What do you think your legacy is going to be? You're a little bit older than your country, but are you going to go down as a bold and visionary leader or somebody who didn't quite live up to expectations?
I can't go down on anything. I always go up. So my country is going up.
But how are you going to be remembered? What's your legacy?
We are remembered by unifying our people and giving them the chance to prosper and reach the level the other parts of the world have taken for granted.
That's how you will be remembered, you think?
Yes.
President Paul Kagame of Rwanda, thank you very much for coming on Hard Talk.
Yeah.
Thank you.